My name's Bill Cole. I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas. I started when I was about 15. I started drinking, and then once I got on my own under this no responsibility, I just started kind of drinking every weekend. Kind of continued through that path until I met my wife, and everything was good. So she was in law school at that point, and during that time we would go out with her friends, we would drink, and everything was fine. But then I think she started to notice, because there would be times that I would just rather drink than hang out with her. The first incident that happened that kind of was an eye-opener is I went to a Christmas party with her. I had already started drinking before I got to the party, and when I got to the party it was open bar, so I just continued drinking, and I went off the rails, honestly, and I really embarrassed her. I went home and sobered up, and she was sitting on the couch, I remember, and she told me it's either me or the alcohol. I stopped drinking for a little while. I tried to do it on my own, and I started kind of drinking behind her back. I continued doing that through having children. We had our second child, and that's where my life kind of started to take a turn for the worse. My insecurity, my low self-esteem, my not knowing my worth with God, and my relationship with Him wasn't very strong. All of these things were coming in on me. I started drinking at home because I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know where to turn, and I was mentally weak at that time. So she realizes what's going on. She's very supportive and gets me into rehab. So I go to rehab my first time. My counselor says, hey, there's this place, Hope is Alive. You need to get involved with them. And I was like, you know, I'd already been away from my family for 30 days. I kept thinking, she's already been taking care of the kids. She's probably not gonna need me anymore. You know, she probably is already starting to realize she can do it on her own. Now I'm gonna go in and she's gonna feel that way, and then she's gonna leave. So I make it another 2 months. At that time, her and I had started seeing a counselor. During one of our sessions, she said, you need to set boundaries and you need to hold to them. So she sets a boundary with me and says, if you ever drink in this house again, use drugs, do any of that, you're out. About 3 months out, I find myself with a bottle of vodka in my hand, and I'm looking in the mirror. I don't really know, I can't tell you what was going through my mind or why I did it, but I drank again. As vulgar as it sounds, at that point I pulled the trigger on my marriage. I pretty much ended it. And she says, I'm done. You're out of the house. She was like, you're going to see your parents. One of the things that I regret now is that when I got out of the car, I just walked away from her. I didn't even hug her or tell her sorry or nothing. I just walked away. I get in the car with my parents, they get me back to the house, and then we get me signed up for rehab again. And I consider Hope is Alive. And honestly, I considered it, but at the same time, I had to come because I didn't have a place to go. So Zach comes and picks me up. He brings me to H2. I guess I had this idea that once a year came up, that everything was gonna go back to normal, and I kept looking for that. Part of my moving through sobriety was the intention of getting my family back together. But that year passed and that didn't happen. And actually, she filed for divorce. It was tough, not gonna lie, but if I didn't have HIA, if I didn't have the brotherhood and the community that I had, I don't know that I'd have made it through it. That was a shift in my sobriety. At that point, I started diving into the program. I'm starting to see my life change and me as a person become more independent. My self-esteem is getting better and my confidence is getting better. And now I've become a manager and I have brothers and I'm managing a house and I'm starting to help guys. And all of these things that are starting to happen, I see God working in my life. After that year, my life shifted and I was like, I get to do these things. I get to celebrate with these guys. I get to come and have speakers speak to me about things that can advance my life and help me be a better person. I get to go to a men's meeting where all of these men come together and we listen about, you know, sobriety, and we help each other and we look to each other for accountability and just brotherhood that I never had before. Real, true, authentic friends. I get my kids start coming back into my life. I become more of an intentional father. I'm taking them to do things. I'm going places with them without HIA and the brotherhood and the community and the program and the phase work and all of the celebrations that we do and the Sunday meetings and the culture nights. And I couldn't have done any of that. I could not be the person I am today without that program. The program that I resisted from the beginning, that I didn't want any part of, actually molded me and shaped me into the man of God that I am today, the father that I am today. I really want to thank my parents. They have been there for me through thick and thin, supported me, helped me out. Even when they didn't have to, I really could not have done it without them. I'm very blessed to have this program. I'm very blessed to have the situation happen to me, to have the divorce happen to me, to have the alcoholism happen to me. I've been given that. God has given me that, and I'm blessed today for that.